Hello, everyone. This is Masha Schwartz, and welcome to the last episode of 2021. This was a challenging year for many, myself including, and I really regret all the losses of lives that we've had this year due to COVID and many of the challenges that a lot of us have gone through. But I wanted to have a special episode to inspire everyone and to kind of help everyone restructure, take another look at their lives, at their goals, at just whatever drives you forward. I always like to reassess what it is that I'm doing and where I'm going. So I posted earlier today and like three questions that I would recommend everybody asks themselves. The first one is, what were you really good at this year? Like, what did you excel at? And something that truly made you happy. For me, I've had a number of different businesses. Last year, I started a business in the stock market, teaching others how to trade, how to invest. And while I have a big passion for it, my true passion lies in the art and teaching people creativity and helping people elevate their creativity to really make new innovations in the world. And so for me, that was my true passion that I excelled at, and I focused on that 100%, starting in September of this year. And I really put all of my energy into connecting with creatives, learning more about NFTs, the metaverse, and putting myself out there in the art world. The second question you want to ask yourself is, what do you want to learn next year? What skill set do you think is super important for you to learn to elevate yourself even higher in the upcoming year as we start to dive more into NFT technologies, into metaverses? People are starting to be in the game worlds more. And while it's still really, really early today to kind of speak about that and say that this is a rapidly growing trend, it is going to be a trend. Many of the tech companies are pushing for this. And in fact, many of the tech companies are investing in many of the companies like hedge funds. They're investing in tech stocks because they know that technology is going to take off next year even more, right? So for me, the skill that I want to kind of improve is my understanding of the metaverses and how the technical side of things works a little bit more. I've worked with a number of different businesses helping them develop seamless technologies, but I am not as well versed in the technical arena when it comes to coding and fully understanding the smart contracts and other things. Amzan, thank you so much for joining today. So that is something that I'm really focused on for me. And then the third thing is kind of what do I want to let go next year? What truly is a time waster for me and for you, right? And because when you waste time, you waste money because time equals money. So you got to look at that together. Right. So for me, I've played a number of different games this year I've watched a little more TV than I'd like to in certain occasions because I was just down on energy. So I'm definitely letting go a lot of that for next year. And I'm really, really focusing on my businesses and what I truly want to achieve for the community and for others in the art world and in the creative world. So that's a little bit about me. And today, what I'm going to be doing is painting a piece that it's a piece that I really like because you could look at it from different angles and you could see different things. You could really hang it in a different ways. And what I want to inspire you to do today is to start thinking about the possibilities and to start thinking about kind of what can you do different next year that you could really look at it from different angles and start gaining more and more inspiration for yourself and your projects in your life and your health and different things that you are trying to achieve. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm gonna try to bring this as close as I can here so you guys can all see. And the palette for today is just my traditional palette. I like to use primary colors. I like to use the scarlet red and alizarin crimson. I also like to use the light blue and the cerulean blue. Sometimes I add a little bit of a flesh color, and this one is Payne's Gray. I am going to use neutral gray today and possibly the buffer or unbleached titanium. So this one is parchment, but unbleached titanium also works. They're roughly the same color. So these are the ones I'm using today. Let me make sure that you guys can kind of see this. So I'm going to bring it as close as possible here. And I'm going to turn on some holiday music so we can really enjoy this. And we're going to keep this a short session for today, but I do want to cover some things that I think are important and important for you to kind of focus on. Let's have fun. So for those of you that know me, know that I like to fill in the main colors, the background colors first. So this is my border portion. So look how cool this is. We're going to be able to turn our canvas and continue painting because we're going to see new things come up. I'm using a lot of washes for this. So I'm actually using a lot of water in my paint. And I'm really interested in allowing the pencil to show through. don't know if I could bring this up a little bit higher here. Let me see if I could do that. One second, guys. Here we go. Here we are. So you guys can see the bottom of this a little bit more. Now, an important aspect to note is you always want to paint in the direction of your lines. So here, you don't want lines going this way, right? You want your final lines to go down to elongate the color. Remember to paint the bottom around the sides of your canvases. Always remember to do that on both sides. And here we want to use the lighter color to extend it further, right? And I want to bring my blue down here a little bit more. And I want to circle with the darker blue. And on top. Excellent. Now this portion is going to be a darker color here, or it might be a brighter color, but it's okay if we have a little bit of a wash around it or into it. Here we are, and the side here. And then what I want to do is I want to tie in a different color here, so we can bring out some of the red. So I want to do my titanium buff as the color that I'm integrating here. And notice I had some blue on my brush, so it's automatically becoming a dual paint color and integrating with the color I already have on the brush. So I'm getting a little bit of blue and a little bit of the buffer color. And it makes it It gives it a little bit more volume, guys. And here I have circles. It's easier to paint through the circles over them with a wash, and then come in and paint in the circles, because they're actually going to be a lot easier to paint with a round brush. Okay. And then this here, I kind of really want to highlight in a lighter color. Because I want this shoe to really, really stand out. And then I'm going to add in the rest of this wash here for the blues. Awesome. So we're going to turn the canvas around and see what else we can see here. So this is sort of like a cloud that's dropping water lower. What I want to do is I want to come in and start painting it with this darker color, darker gray, and have it end up with a lighter color below. And notice how pretty that looks. And then I really want to make sure that it goes down into the lighter blue color that I have, right? So here we go. And I'm gonna wash my brush. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. All right, so cool. We now see this pretty shoe, and we can actually bring that out. You know what? I took the wrong brush here. Let me wash this one so I have it a little bit. I'm gonna broke it down. Here we go. And so and we can add some of that darker color to paint in the bottom of the shoe. take your time with the details. When you guys are painting, the backgrounds are good to paint with broader strokes. But details, take your time. And for our water drops, we really want to integrate those into the gray. So one of the things I'm doing here, let me lower the music a little bit, is I'm taking the blue and I'm integrating it into the gray by first painting the blue. And now I'm taking some gray and I'm covering over top of the blue to blend it in. And if you guys remember from my previous videos, I mentioned that you could also do this with a paper towel, and you can also do this with a sponge if you are not comfortable. So if you have a paper towel, just blot the area, and it'll create a much smoother transition for your paint. And then on the bottom, I really want to highlight white because water tends to be much brighter. And from this side, I want to do a different color to kind of show that this water drop has been moving, right? So I blend that in. And then these I would like to do in a darker color. And what I'm doing is I'm helping them blend in a little bit more and go into this one drop. And I'm adding some white into it once I paint it, just like this. And here. And then down below, we want to start with a lighter in the center and go in the rounded circles, right, ovals, and kind of expand on that as we add colors into it. So all I'm doing is I'm going in oval circles and I'm blending in the colors that are there and adding more and more as I am going through it, right? So I'm taking white and I'm taking the darker color and I'm creating these circles, and then I'm expanding further and I'm creating more circles. And as a result, you'll have kind of like these rings of color that will form with different colors that you've added to here. And it'll also help you create really nice ovals for your ring circles for the water. And again, you can come in with white into those circles and then continue with a different color. And you can always go back, guys, and kind of bring in some of the white by lightly touching the canvas. So this allows you to create some of those circles later on by just really bringing in the white. But initially, I would recommend just doing the colors that you want to use for the water and without the white, and blend some of those in, and then bring in the colors that you want to use for the, the white circles with the white once this is already created. Because you will have some lighter circles in this from the light and dark colors that you integrate. Let me see if you guys can clearly see this, just to make sure. Yeah. And also, don't be afraid to bring in some gray, because we had a gray cloud above and usually it mimics itself below. So it could give it a nice contrast to create edges of your water bubble here, right? Just as such. And then have a little bit more blue integrated. And same thing on this side, right? Doesn't have to be exact, but it could be similar. If you guys are painting like me, standing up, or if you're painting standing up in general, make sure your movement comes from your shoulder, not from your wrist, because your ovals are going to be lopsided when you're doing them from your wrist like this, right? So always make sure that your movement comes directly from your shoulder and that you're extending that movement all the way through. It's just always going to make your ovals look a lot better and a lot more consistent. Right? So that's one thing that I cannot stress enough as you're doing this. And as you're creating these. All right, cool. So I actually want to add a little bit of gray to these and a little bit down here and maybe even a little bit down here to kind of create some depth and maybe even create some of those lines that you guys saw initially. Some of them are created with white, but others maybe with this color, and even down here, kind of capture it with a little bit of darkness in it to give it some volume. Yeah, like that. Awesome. So next we're going to do the lines up here. for which I'm going to use a flat brush. And what I'm going to do is dry it off from water. I'm going to dip it in water and dry it off. And then I really want to create, I think I'm going to use a flat brush that's smaller actually. My the half inch one. And I'm going to use my Payne's Gray to create some of these colors for the lines. Make sure this is dry before you slide your hands over it. And so what I'm doing is creating the horizontal lines first. And some of these, where I can see them. And just like that, you could smudge your work. All right, let me see if we can work around that. So you guys can see, and I can still. For details in your work, you do not want to draw it from the shoulder. You really kind of want to make sure that your hand is resting on a canvas, so those lines are made a lot smoother and more precise. And let me see, I want to make sure that I can see them too. All right, and now we're going to do the horizontal line, the vertical lines. Cool. There's another one. All right, let's see how we like this and if we want any other lines. Okay, there's one line here that we want to add. Here we are. Awesome. If you created some lines that are a little too thick or a little too much, like I did here, you can wipe off the excess with water, just like that, and make the line thinner. So don't worry if you created some lines that you can't fix right away. You can always fix them later. All right, I think that's all the ones that I wanted. And now what I want to do is balance the colors that I have. So I have a little bit of red here. I want to add red in other areas. So like, for example, here, I want to add some red as well, right? So I'm going to use some of this primary red and add it into this area because I really want to balance my colors. And we want to make this nice and holiday-ish as well. Very inspirational. Right? When you guys are painting, if you are painting a large surface with lots of curves, you could use a rounded brush. It will be easier. If you are doing lines or if you are doing more of like a wider area, I recommend using a square brush. But for this, I'm actually going to get a slightly bigger brush here. Should have one. There we go. Yeah, I have a couple others, so I think I'm going to use this one. This brush. And maybe a rounded one. That's size, I don't even know what size this is. 6. There we go. We're going to start with size 6 and then see where we go from there. Here we go. So what I would challenge you with is creating a piece that you could really view from every angle and it looks interesting and you could hang it that way and you're finding new things in it and others are challenged to find new things in your piece as well because that makes it really unique. I painted a piece a few years back that from one side you can see a female dog and from the other side you could see a male dog. Maybe I'll show you guys sometime this piece in one of my videos, but it was really, really cool because you could, what I did was I created on the back of it like a turning mechanism so you could spin the piece and see it from one side as a female dog and from another side as a male dog. And it was really neat. It's a small piece, so it's not like you could put it on the wall large, but it's still it was really pretty and it made me feel that I should do this with more pieces as I'm becoming more and more innovative and that I should really push my artistic limits to being a lot more integrative in terms of what I do with the composition. And then I would like to do the same thing here. I want to add some more red. All right, cool. So this brush is working quite well for us. Just make sure that you guys keep your brushes with enough water so you're not painting with too dry brush strokes. If you were doing, especially if you were doing washes. I think if it's intended to have dry brush strokes, that's one thing, but if that's just accidental, it looks tacky. So And as I said earlier, make sure to extend those colors to the edges, because sometimes you are not going to have the colors that you've mixed later. You're not going to be able to find the same color. In this case, I'm using red, primary red, but sometimes it's not as simple to extend the color over. So just a good practice to always do it. And then I want to add red into these. I actually want to add my alizarin crimson here. So it's a little darker. And I want to mix that with my Payne's Gray to make it even darker. I want kind of like that deep, deep red color for this. Just like that. And on the inside, I want to do yellow to make it really, really pop. And then on the outside, one second, guys. On the outside, we have a leaf here, so it's gonna make it more lively. All right. So I love this mauve color. It makes it look so, so pretty. And then this one too. And see how with a rounded brush, you could just do the wider brush stroke and run it around to create that curved leaf or curved element. And you can really make it with different brush strokes. You could give it texture, especially on the wash. It might be harder for you guys to see, but here's, so you can see the brush strokes, right? Some of those brush strokes are really, really apparent here now. And then I want to do the background in here first. And I kind of want to bring it out with color, with a lighter color, so it makes these elements stand out. And do some gray in the center here to kind of bring this together, right? But what I'm doing in here is using yellow to tie this together. Now, I don't care if this yellow extends past the lines, because I know I'm gonna have gray here, but if you're gonna have a lighter color, right, make sure that you don't extend the darker color beyond the lines that you created. All right. So I don't want to put yellow anywhere else, but I do want to probably create yellow circles here or maybe light blue circles. Let's see how things turn out, and then we'll figure out what colors we want to put where to add accents. I always work with larger elements first, and then I add the accents because you never know what you're going to have where to really determine what color you want to accent and balance out in your painting. So here I'm going to do gray. And then on the external, I want to do a little bit of lighter color. So it almost off-white. But for this, I'm doing gray. And that's going to automatically make this pop. And it's going to make this leaf also come alive more. When you guys paint, if you're right-handed, start from the left and go to the right as you're painting, because you're not going to smudge things as you're painting the new element while your hand is on a canvas. If you are left-handed, obviously do the opposite. Start on the right and go to the left, because again, when you place your wrist on the canvas, you are not going to smudge those elements. You know, guys, I still don't have a name for this. I have no idea what I'm going to call this piece. So if you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments below. I actually really enjoy all the different names that people have been suggesting to me for my other paintings. They're so much better than my own sometimes, that I love going to all of you guys for name suggestions. Thank you all for joining me. You guys are amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right. Cool, cool, cool. I think I did this one the wrong way. I think this was supposed to be yellow and this was supposed to be burgundy. So let's see if we could fix that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a lot of water, because I just painted this, on here and just in the area that I've painted recently, right? So with this burgundy color, I'm going to see if I can open it up a little bit and add some yellow into it and then wipe that off from my canvas altogether. Just like that. And we're going to use a clear paper towel, maybe clean water would be ideal with this, so we don't have this mess going on in some of the areas of the canvas. But this is a way to clean off paint that you've recently put on if you have made a mistake. So just like in our case, we made a mistake. You know, I planned to put a yellow there and I put a burgundy, and the burgundy was supposed to go in a different area. So we're fixing the mistake. We're cleaning up the rest of the canvas. But for those of you that, Happy New Year's. For those of you that like the dripping paint, when you add water to your paint, it's going to dilute it a little bit and you're going to have streaks of paint falling down. You could also do it with a spray bottle, and that will give your painting kind of like that dripping effect that you've seen in some of the other paintings out there that are used by certain artists, right? I'm not one to use those very frequently, but I do like them sometimes. Most of my art, though, is pretty clean in terms of color, and I do like clean lines and clean colors. So I'm not one for mixing that stuff very often to have it drip. But again, if you are an artist that I like this effect, then you can certainly do that. And it's really, really easy to do by just dripping water onto your color that you've already painted on your canvas. All right, so actual burgundy in the right place here now. All right, here we go. Cool. Good deal. Oh, I love this. I love how rich this is in color and how we were able to just bring this forward and make it truly shine and mimic that leaf above. I think it makes it look really, really rich and really pretty. Okay, and then let's create a green for our leaf. Yeah. So to make the green, you're gonna mix either cerulean blue and yellow or your light blue and yellow, depending on how light you want that green to be. And again, the more yellow you add, the more yellow your color will be. You can also add a pinch of white to kind of lighten the shade of it. I wanted a really, really bright color for mine. So here we are. There we go. I like that. And then on the outskirts, I actually want a slightly darker color. So I'm going to use the darker blue to really add to this. And maybe even use a phthalo blue to kind of add some edges to this. But let's do that once it dries. First we're blending, and then we're going to add some edges. And then outside of that, I kind of really want to frame off the gray. So it creates maybe a buff color or like a lighter color, actually. actually. So we're gonna do white with just a little bit of buff and pink. I'm gonna use the portrait pink and the white to create kind of like that really, really light color that I like for this area. So it's not completely white, but it's a little bit of freshness in our painting, right? And then here as well, I kind of really wanted that vibrant color, that fresh, vibrant color that allows my painting to breathe and allows us to get these colors to pop out a little bit more. And it may be a little bit harder to see with the lighting that I have here, but this actually looks really, makes it look really fresh. So you guys could see, and it makes it stand out significantly here. Pink is a great color for an accent on blue as well as orange. So that may be something that we consider for these circles here. And it's something that I would recommend if you guys are big fans of blue, like I am, to select as contrasting colors, complementary colors for those areas that you're painting in blue. Just add accents of orange or accents of like reddish color. All right, here we go. I really want the pink here. And pink is a great counterpart to your darker alizarin crimson. And so that makes your darker red stand out even more because you now added a fresh color in a similar gamma or similar color palette to that, right? And so here I'm adding this really fresh color and I'm having this stand out. I really like that. I really wanted these colors to kind of come together for me, right, in this lighter gamma of colors. And then one of the things that I'm doing is I'm doing a little bit more of a wash over the circles so I can see them as I'm bringing them in. It would be easy for me to paint them. But remember, we added some blue in this area. I don't want to completely eliminate the blue. I really liked the blue from the lower area into this one. So I'm kind of carefully adding a little bit of this pink color in here to complement my blue that I've already had earlier. And your colors may seem to be different in certain areas. Make sure that you actually paint them everywhere so you have color in all the areas. And make sure that your colors do extend to the edges. Just like this, right? All right, here we are. Cool. So we have gray in this area, in this gray area, and I'm thinking of adding some in this area as well, so you have a little bit of a balance to what you're doing. I also want to add a pinker color in here or an orange color in here. And then this area here, I'm thinking of making like pink as well. Kind of add this freshness in here as well with a body of water or this pink element here. Right here, like in truly pink. And out here to kind of help this along with a little bit more freshness here, right? So kind of have this color going. All right. Let's get our music back. And let's get a little bit of white happening here so it adds to that freshness and creates our shape. And then what we want to do is extend that here, right? So we're going to take that same pink, we're going to take some white, and we're going to extend it out with lines and really drag those lines through so they look like they are creating waves for you and allowing that water to fall through. But you really want to add those last guys, right? So you create that effect of something being over top last. So now you could see how that's just like flowing through into it. All right. Let's turn our canvas around again and see what else we can find. Cool. Let's do these lines next. So for this, I'm going to be using my Payne's Gray, and I am going to bring a color in. And here, and here. And I could do my color here. I could extend it here, and here, and here, and here, and here. Always want to use your brush at an angle. And this side. All right, how do we do? Not bad, not bad. the lines from those as well. So I am going to take some Payne's Gray, and I'm going to take some of my burgundy that I had earlier and just kind of mix those together to be a darker color. And I'm going to go from one of the lines and extend those lines down here to bring them in. All right, so we messed up on this one a little bit. Let's clean that up. I am only using water here, guys. Just water, okay? And then I want to do the same thing with the one that I have on top. So I want to do it from the left and bring that line all the way down into this. Same way. And notice I was tracking it with my finger, with my pinky finger. This is just to keep your hand steadier on canvas. That's all it was for. All right. And so we had a few other elements in here that didn't get painted, and there's a reason for that. I really wanted to bring them out above the light color. So now we're gonna bring in a little bit more of that burgundy color in here and paint this guy in. Here we go. And that makes it look so much prettier. And it was easier to paint that background without having to carefully go around this little guy. But what a nice accent against the light. Super. Some of these colors got washed off or colored over with a lighter color, so I'm coming back to paint some of them in. And I'm really bringing in some of the colors that I need in here. All right. So we have a couple more areas here to do, and I want to kind of fill in the major areas in here and then color in the others. We want to start here with a little bit of I think orange, maybe green. What do you guys think? I think I'm gonna stay with my green theme from the top to the bottom. Yeah. I think that's gonna make it look vibrant. Here we are. And I want to have that lighter, vibrant color on this side. And for the eye, I want to have blue. I don't know if I told you guys, I always wanted to have blue eyes. My parents both have hazel eyes, and I'm such a fan of blue eyes. I've always wanted blue eyes. So it's been kind of like a little passion of mine. I wanted to have kids with blue eyes. I wanted to have myself blue eyes. Never had that, unfortunately. Okay. Let me see. This part should be black. All right, so with eyes, it's really simple just to do a little raise from the iris itself and then to bring it in on the outside. Just a little bit here. And it always makes your eye stand out. And then you come back in and paint the rounded portion one more time so it ties it in. We'll accent it in a little bit. Let's color in some of these other areas, bring them in a little bit more. And I'm going to use a darker color, darker blue here. So I really want it kind of like a darker green. All right, cool. I'm happy with this one. Here we are. Add water to wet your paint. And then what I'm doing here is I am going to wet the canvas and dry it off. So it creates a wash over top of my pink. And it makes this nice little loop. And then this area, I kind of really want to capture in a completely different color. I want a totally different circle. So I may use gray, I may use another color, but I want to make it stand out, right? So I'm thinking of using a lighter gray. I'll make it a slightly darker gray. Let me see what we can come up with here. Or do we want to use, yeah, we want to use a gray. I want a neutral color to help the eye stand out more. Just like this. And like that. And this makes this stand out more. And then what I want to do is extend it out to this. Like that. So here we go. Okay, very cool. And these are our kind of like fish lips. I originally envisioned this as a fish, but ended up being something completely different as an end result, so I'm not too mad. All right, very cool. Hi, Zakra. Thanks for joining today. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. And here, I think, let's add a red into this circle here. I definitely want to highlight this in a brighter color. I love the combination of gray and red. This is just my personal favorite. I also love the combination of light blue. So sometimes I add one, sometimes I add another. And sometimes I add pinks. So it really just a matter of preference, I guess. Personal preference for everyone. And I want to create, with my circular brush, guys, I am just dipping it in the center to create that circle in small dots. And as my brush touches it, it's gonna create a circle on its own. So I don't have to physically like try to create a crazy circle there. All right, very cool. I do want to paint a little bit of lips here. and a little bit of lips here. I don't know how that's gonna look. Let's see. Not bad. Not bad. I kind of like it. All right, and now what I want to do is add the finishing touches to the eye. So I'm really painting that in with the added lines. I'm going to use a different brush. I'm going to use a straight brush here for this. And I'm going to use a corner to have it stand out here and out here. And this brush is also great for doing eyelashes that are gonna come out. It will allow you to curl those eyelashes straight out of the eye, just like that, right? So you're gonna start from the curve of the eye and flash them out, and out, and out. Just like that. And it's gonna have your eye come out really, really nice. All right. So last but not least, we have a couple more elements left here, guys. And I love to kind of like move this around because it makes it look so much better and it makes it come out so much different, right? Because we could look at it here this way, we could look at it another way, and it all looks like it's coming together. Like here you have this nice, pretty flower flourishing. Here you have an eye and a fish forming, right, with some seaweed. And when you turn it this way, you kind of have like this icicles and a cloud with water dripping. So it gives it so many different perspectives and so many different things, and so much for people to focus on that it makes the piece interesting from literally every angle. So let's do some orange, and let's bring a little bit of that lighter orange color in here. I want to do the darker orange in the center here because I really like that combination for your darker orange with the yellow and the blue. So I am carrying that color through to create my outer lines. And then I'm gonna come in and paint my inner lines or my inner color. Yeah, and so I'm gonna use the lighter yellow to blend this into this color, and you've seen me do this in many of my paintings. I am literally bringing in this lighter color and carefully going around the inner line to blend it in with the outer color. Just like that. And you have that perfect blend for the outside. So if your color here kind of got lost, make sure to come in again and add that color in. Sometimes you'll even need to use like that darker red, right? But for the most part, you can always kind of blend it in and have that nice line going. with the blended color. All right. I'm not sure what I had going on there. I had something or other. But it's interesting how we're now going to connect that and it kind of works together. That wasn't actually planned, but we'll make this more of a color blend here that I really want to add. And I want to have it really, really light, guys, because I want to highlight some of those edges. And I actually like the idea of this kind of cloudy color coming in. So I am going to keep that effect and carry that over, just like that. There we go. Like that. Maybe even out of that. And this way. So I like the way that that came out. I'm going to keep it as that. I wasn't sure what to put in that area, but I really like that effect. And not only that, I kind of really like this color to add it to my circles. Remember, we weren't sure what to do with the circles? Well, I think I really like this reddish white color to kind of add the circles here. I really like this, and we're gonna carry that through with some white or some lighter colors. And this is really going to pop. And allow us to make some of those circles in here that we've been missing to really kind of have it stand out. And then some of the additional effects here. I want to have the bottom of my shoe more specific. I want to have the line here extend further. And I want to bring blue in here because this is big on blue and this is kind of lacking blue. But I want to create some of the lighter circles in here, I think, as well. Some of those orange circles. I'm going to add them in this area, just like that. And we're going to add the blue circles in here. I think I'm going to do them in this cerulean blue or maybe lighter blue. Let me see. try the lighter blue or cerulean blue. Cerulean blue. Let's do cerulean blue. All right, so all I'm doing is I am not taking paint from the palette. I put it on my brush and I'm literally tapping the canvas to create the circles. And then as they get bigger, we're going to make them more circular. But the smaller ones, you could just tap the canvas to create, and they'll be nice, perfect circles. All right, guys. We are almost done with this piece. This took a lot longer than I expected, but sometimes our art is gonna take longer. We gotta be prepared and just enjoy the experience. I love painting, I love drawing, I love creating. If you love it, first of all, thank you for sticking with me this long. I really appreciate all of you for doing this, and remember to subscribe to my channel if you are new. Remember to kind of follow my YouTube channel, and I am going to have a Discord available shortly as well. I've already started the Discord for connecting artists and creatives, and I'd love to have you guys in there. So you've been following me along. I appreciate you, and I hope to see you as part of my Discord as well, so I can help more people get onboarded to NFTs, and more people, more artists and musicians get themselves out there to kind of make a brand for themselves. But this is our piece for today. I had a lot of fun making it. I hope you guys enjoyed making it with me, and I will see you all in the new year. Happy New Year, guys. Take care.